J.J. Watt out for the rest of the season.
Wow.
It was a crazy turn of events. He was out for the game, I was originally reading, and then Adam Schefter put out a tweet that said, hey, this is a bummer. Okay, this is an absolute bummer, but we think J.J. Watt's potentially getting shoulder surgery. He's going to be out for the season. This magical run that he had with Phoenix, and his magical run he had as a member of the Cardinals in his first year of his multi-year deal that he signed after getting released from his contract with the Houston Texans in the big workout up in Wisconsin. He was squatting. He was getting numerous shirts delivered to other people so that nobody could break the story of where he was signing. His first time being a free agent, but him goes to Arizona. Owner flies a jet to Wisconsin to go pick him up and fly him back and sign him. It was a beautiful thing. They got off to the hottest of hot starts. J.J. Watt was a part of a defense that was dominant, that could keep up with an offense that was consistent. And now here we are, 7 games into that beautiful relationship that was just, it was kind of in the roots.
Right.
That's right.
It's kind of in the roots, and there was already starting to blossom.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, things were already starting to come out. The roots were wide and thick. The foundation had been laid, and he was already starting to really start to take over. It felt like in a culture building standpoint, in playmaking standpoint, in energy boost. Now he's out for the rest of the season, which is a goddamn shame.
It really is.
I like seeing this rebirth of J.J. Watt. I like seeing J.J. Watt have to prove himself to another city, to another coaching staff, to another locker room. I enjoyed what it was. I enjoyed that J.J. and T.J. were sitting in frozen lakes in Wisconsin with Derek, and then they were working out with their high school lifting coach that they hadn't lifted with in some time. It was a throwback. It was a here we go. TJ Watt balling. Derek's doing his thing. JJ was going, and now it's all over after week 7. I'm fucking bummed about it for JJ Watt. And the immediate reaction from the naysayers and haters, in which there were many of J.J. Watt, especially when he signed that $30 million deal. A lot of people were saying the same thing. J.J. Watt never plays. J.J. Watt always gets hurt. J.J. Watt's body would not allow him to ever be what he could potentially be because he gets hurt. That is factually incorrect, by the way. I would like to let everybody know that. I guess there's a stat out there floating, and we try to do our own research, but anytime you start adding up big numbers and not knowing if it's regular season or playoff numbers, you don't know what it is. He's only missed, I think, 32 games out of 167 possible games. He 4 of the last 6 seasons, though, in recent history, he has missed 3, 5, 8, and 7, or he's only played in 3, 5, 8, and 7 games. So although recent history says 4 of the last 6 years, JJ will not be able to complete an entire season. Throughout his entire career, that was not the case. So I do not want people to paint that picture of JJ that he was never able to perform, because for a lot of times, 130-some games, he was able to. Here late with an awkward landing on the shoulder that's going to knock him out of this season. Maybe some unfortunate things have happened. I do not think that the Arizona Cardinals spent too much money to get J.J. Watt in there. I think J.J. will probably come back from this, hopefully better than ever, or whatever he decides to do. I can't wait to see it. Let's talk about J.J. Watt a little bit. He's out for the season with a shoulder injury.
Likely.
Maybe.
I think that he'll be back probably for the playoffs. Or
Adam Schefter says Cardinals DN J.J. Watt will undergo what is now likely to be season-ending shoulder surgery. Sources tell ESPN no date set yet for surgery. Watt hurt his shoulder in the second quarter Sunday and still managed to play the rest of the game with the injury. He made a dive for old Dougie Mills, quarterback for the Texans, and he landed on it in a similar fashion as Baker Mayfield. It was like an awkward landing. It got flattened. No humans landed on his back like what happened to Baker. It was just weird because he had his little robo arm sleeve on, and it kind of got caught up in there. So I don't know if it's a labrum, a broken humerus, or whatever it is, but if there's no date set for surgery, and if he's set to have likely season-ending surgery, what does that mean then? What do we know anything at this point?
Yeah, it feels like something where he'll come back towards the end of the season, because if it was just like a dislocation or a torn labrum, 10 weeks from now it's still a regular season, and
after the surgery?
Yeah, I assume if the Cardinals continue to go on the path they're on, that they'll make the playoffs, and he might be able to come back for that.
This has happened for J.J. Watt before, right? Where he got hurt early, came back. I think it was his back. He came back like week 16 or week 17 or something like that, and then maybe into the playoffs he's healed quickly and did that whole thing. What are you shaking your head for, Tone? You agree with that?
What Connor was trying to get at, and what he kind of said earlier out there is J.J. said, hey, Adam, say it's likely season ending, so when I do come back.
This is the TJ Watt kicked his agents out of the way.
When I do come back early.
Yes.
Super tough guy.
likely season ending, like most humans, the average human, out for a year or two.
Right.
J.J. Watt back week 15. That's what you were implying?
Yes, that's what the implications to me from all the tweets that were being written were saying. Hey, this guy, should be out for the year, but when he comes back week 17, we can all talk about how tough he is.
Whatever the case, it would be
wrong
great
with
for
you
the
guys?
Cardinals. I mean, this is
Hey, he's an
this is an
incredible
incredibly hater way to look at this entire thing.
I know J.J. Watt's a very tough guy, and that's why I don't believe that
No,
something like this will
you're saying
keep
that
him out
he's
the season.
cooking up these stories that he is a tough guy, is what you're saying.
Well-
You're saying he's Fugazi's tough guy, that he's not actual tough guy. Like, you're saying that when the doctor here in Indianapolis said, hey, these 2 foot surgeries, they're going to be out 7 to 8 months.
Yes.
And then when they were back 3 weeks later, the doctor looked good. You're saying JJ's doing that with this particular shoulder surgery that is not even scheduled to happen yet.
Based on previous actions from J.J. Watt, like tackling a guy on the stage of a Zach Brown band concert that was clearly set up.
That's good entertainment.
Exactly, great entertainment.
That's good entertainment.
Just like this. This is going to be great entertainment when J.J. Watt comes back at the end of the season when he should have been out for 2 years.
I got some good friends that'll tackle you. I'm on my stage and look like a stooge. Yeah. That was what Zach was singing about. He was talking about J.J. Watt tackling somebody, some drunk that just came up on stage. Like, hey, I understand you're having a good time at this Zach Brown band concert, and they are incredibly talented, but it's not your place to be up here on stage. They didn't pay to see your drunk ass.
No.
So J.J. Watt took his aviators off. No, put his aviators on. I knew the aviators were involved. And then he speared this guy, protecting Zach Brown band.
Yes.
And myself and other Zach Brown band fans were very thankful for that move.
Me too.
So I don't know what you're alluding to right now.
It was just incredible that he was ready to go right on the side stage.
That's
and-
fucking J.J.
and
Watt.
perform
Man of
tackle.
action.
Always ready.
Yeah, J.J. Watt's, what do you think, he's sitting back in the lawn?
Just
No.
because he was at a concert didn't mean rent was due that day, dude.
Well said.
Success is not owned.
No.
It's leased.
It's leased, yeah.
And rent is due every day.
Yeah, and that's why at the end of the season, when rent is due, expect J.J. Watt to be there to pay.
I get it. Mm-hmm. But the amount of rent that's going to have to be paid to get back early from this likely season-ending shoulder surgery is going to be something that maybe he's putting an upfront on another house, maybe.
Could be.
Oh.
Like,
Could
you
be.
know, because shoulder, if he's going to come back early at this stage of life, he's a little bit older than what he used to be, obviously. If that is likely season ending, he's going to come back quick. That rehab is going to be absolutely terrible, but that's what J.J. Watt does. He's always in there work.
That's what I mean. He sits in ponds that are freezing ice cold to
Look
recover.
at this fucking guy, dude.
Hell yeah.
I see. I thought the way you were reading that was he was not going to get surgery.
No. Opposite.
I thought you thought he was going to power through.
No.
Get no surgery.
No, I think he's going to do everything that he can to get back. And so when he does come back late in the season, like the Cardinals are very good. There's a chance that they're the 1 seed in the NFC.
Maybe we haven't seen him without J.J. Watt.
Absolutely.
I mean, we have not seen him without J.J. Watt in the building.
Still have Kyler.
Still have Kyler, still have Chandler Jones, still have DeAndre Hopkins, still have A.J. Green, have
Buda
Zach
Baker.
Ertz, have Buda Baker, have Isaiah Simmons. Hey, they have Cliff Kingsbury back from the old COVID cave.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a lot of weapons. Mm-hmm. And J.J. Watt is probably going to be incredibly bummed that he might not be a part of this entire run. So that's why whenever he said the surgery hasn't been set yet and it's likely season-ending shoulder surgery, I thought maybe he was going to say, I ain't doing the surgery. I'm just going to power through this
Rehab.
entire thing. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I thought you were going to go with.
No.
Even though I think they haven't set the date yet because they're trying to figure that out probably, and he might be out for whatever. Ian has an updated tweet here. J.J. Watt had made a miraculous recoveries before. Now, after he solicits several medical opinions, he'll have surgery as soon as possible and rehab. Time will tell how quickly he'll be able to play, if at all. This comes after Ian Rappaport tweeted that J.J. Watt played the entire second half last week and now needs shoulder surgery from an injury that happened in the first half, source said. The recovery is likely at least 3 months, which may knock him out for the season. A tough situation for the veteran. So he's getting medical opinions because the people are telling him likely 3 months. He said, I don't have 3 months. I need to find a doctor that says 1 month, maybe 2 weeks. That's what J.J. Watt's currently doing, even though he might be staring down the inevitability of this.
Well, 3 months, especially if they have the first round bye, like that, he would be able to come back from a 3-month recovery.
Yeah. How would that work? What do you put them on? Extended IR, or can you just put them on IR and take them off whenever? Or is it a 3-week window? What is it?
I feel like last year you could put someone on IR and take them off whenever because of COVID. I don't know if that stuck around or
Yeah.
not.
Because I know the 3-week thing, because it was originally you could designate one person to IR to return. This was years ago, a couple years ago. And it was like, thank God they did this, because guys would have these blown hamstrings or something, and because of a salary cap situation, they would have to be put on IR. Their season would be over, even though they could have potentially came back in 4 or 5 weeks, and there still would have been 8 weeks left in the season. So they said, oh, you can designate one person to return if they go on IR if you think it's an injury. Then COVID opened this whole thing up to like a DL type situation in baseball where you could set them, and it had to be at least 3 weeks if you use IR. Hopefully you're able to come back whenever. That seems to make the most amount of sense, especially because when they're not on IR, it takes up a spot of the roster. You can't have as many people, which means not as many people playing and healthy, and the team suffers from it. Put him on IR, he's off. You can bring in just as many people to replace.
Yeah.